Sometimes a line doesn't collapse because of bullets. Sometimes it collapses because of breath, because of rumor, because the mind sees something it can't explain, and panic does the rest. Tonight, 3 last stands across 3 eras. Different uniforms, different weapons, same question. When survival is impossible, what makes people stand anyway? A bombardment fades, the wind shifts, and a low, unnatural cloud rolls forward like it's looking for lungs. The men inside the defenses have no masks, no real protection. They try cloth, water, anything. But in minutes, the world turns into coughing and chaos. It's not a fight anymore. It's an environment turned hostile. An hour later, the attackers advance behind their masks. They expect silence. Instead, they hear rustling, then a wet, broken kind of breathing. Figures rise from the haze. Not monsters, not miracles, just men who should not be standing, still holding rifles and bayonets. This is how legend begins. Chemical warfare doesn't only kill, it changes what the living look like. It makes survivors appear unreal, like something dragged from a nightmare. And in battle, perception is everything. The body can be brave, the mind can still break. A formation can collapse because it believes it's facing the impossible. The target wasn't random. It was a fortress guarding a critical route, one of the few lines that kept the region connected. It had held before, even while badly outnumbered. The attackers didn't want another long siege. They wanted a shortcut, so they used the wind. And then they watched their own men recoil from what that shortcut created. What happened next wasn't supernatural. It was psychological. A handful of wounded defenders moved forward at the exact moment the attackers expected surrender. They didn't just face resistance. They faced the image of resistance that looked impossible. And that image cracked discipline faster than bullets could. Here's what gets overlooked. Stories like this spread because they solve a problem. They explain why trained soldiers suddenly ran. They turned shame into horror. Whether every detail is perfect or not, the core remains. The defenders bought time. Not with numbers, but with shock. Now jump centuries forward. A different empire. A different frontier. An army is marching toward a major prize, and a small fortress refuses to step aside. Leadership calls it a minor delay, a few days, a quick lesson. But the detour becomes a grinder, because the fortress isn't one wall, it's layered. Each section forces attackers to cross narrow bridges under fire, again and again. Even a massive army must funnel into tight spaces. The defender understands the math. He can't win the normal way, so he chooses a different victory: time. If the army stalls here, it isn't moving forward. And war isn't only steel. Camps break down. Water turns dangerous. Disease moves faster than orders. A siege grinds an army physically and psychologically. When the end comes, it comes in one sharp motion. A gate swings open. A last blast hits packed ranks on the bridge. Then the defenders charge into open air. Their leader falls. The rest follow. Not because they think they'll live, but because they refuse to be erased quietly. The attackers rush inside expecting a clean finish. Instead, they meet a final act that turns celebration into chaos. Victory comes with a bill no one wanted to pay. Now to a place that barely looks like history happened there at all. A small signaling post, 2 forts miles apart. Messages travel through this one point. If it goes dark, the whole defense loses coordination. The attackers see it instantly, so they choose the easiest target, because easy is how you break a chain. The defenders spot thousands approaching and send the alert. The reply is short and brutal: no help is coming. That's the moment courage becomes a decision, not a feeling. Retreat and survive, or hold and give the forts time to prepare. 21 men choose to hold. People call it heroism. Inside the wall, it's also control. Discipline becomes shelter when everything else is taken away. Attackers aren't machines. They get tired, they get angry, they make mistakes when the small target refuses to act small. So the attackers change tactics. They use smoke to cut sightlines. They move around strong points. They breach near the tower. The defense is forced to split. Cover the wall. Cover the gate. Cover the inner position. Every casualty hurts more when you started with only 21. Soon the defenders are fighting with whatever is left. The wall becomes hand-to-hand distance. The geometry of last stands takes over. Someone stays behind so others can fall back. Not because they want to die, but because time has to be bought with someone's body. One detail makes this story colder than the rest. The final man doesn't just pick up his rifle. He asks permission first. He packs his equipment, he fixes the bayonet, and he fights until the tower itself becomes a furnace. Put the three together and a pattern appears. The first is terror turned into a weapon. The second is time turned into a battlefield. The third is communication turned into survival. In each one, defenders don't just resist armies. They resist inevitability. And we should admit something uncomfortable. War stories sharpen over time. Details inflate. Quotes appear that no one wrote down. But myth doesn't erase the event. It reveals the need. Humans create legends when reality is too brutal to hold without a frame. So what are these last stands really? Pure fact, exactly as told? Or the psychological residue of moments people couldn't process? If fear can rewrite memory in real time, then what's more dangerous? The enemy outside the wall, or the story that forms inside the mind when the wall is about to fall?